NamRA Kachenu, 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 NamRA Kachenu. We are
NamRA, serving with passion.
Hello and welcome to this edition of NamRA Kachenu, your trusted source for all customs and excise matters. I am Jean-Marie Pretorius and I am delighted to be your host for the next half an hour or so. In recent developments, NamRA explores enhanced scanning at entry points. Staff participate in a Think a Truckers Wellness Day in Keetmanshoop. Tax Inspectors Without Borders launched in Namibia. All that and more coming to you in a while. With the push for faster movement of people and goods, improved and less intrusive scanning is essential. NamRA management discussed this with NUCTEC delegation, which maintains scanners at entry points to ensure their effectiveness.
NamRA explores enhanced scanning at entry points. In the wake of the push for accelerated movement of people and goods, the need for enhanced and less intrusive scanning becomes a necessity. This formed part of the discussion between NamRA management and a delegation from NUCTEC. NUCTEC provides maintenance for the scanners installed at many entry points, and therefore the discussion with the NamRA leadership focused on the effectiveness of those scanners. NamRA Commissioner Sam Shivuda stressed the need for skills transfer in this regard. The session also agreed on the need to integrate artificial intelligence in border surveillance.
Apart from that as well, we also want to have a plan with regard to skills transfer, because we would want a situation whereby we must also be Namibian capacitated to be able to maintain the system as well.
We are here. The main purpose for us to be here is to conduct a joint site survey together with our NamRA colleagues. And the same will then form the basis of a detailed report afterwards for NamRA's review.
On 19 March 2025, the NamRA Keetmanshoop office took part in the Thank a Truckers Wellness Day organized by the Walvis Bay Corridor Group in collaboration with the Namibian Police in the Karas region in Keetmanshoop. Namibia launched the Tax Inspectors Without Borders initiative on 18 March 2025, led by the Organizations for Economic Cooperation and Development and the United Nations Development Programme. It provides NamRA with expert support to enhance tax orders, focusing on transfer pricing and multi-nation taxation. This reinforces Namibia's commitment to tax compliance, revenue growth, and economic transparency for sustainable development.
really like to once again commend NamRA and all the partners present here for their commitment to this initiative. We ourselves as UNDP remain committed to supporting Namibia in building a robust, fair and inclusive tax system that will be a foundation for long-term development.
The only way to fund your development sustainably is through domestic resource mobilization. It's for that reason that from a global stage perspective, we are all encouraged, and when I say we are all encouraged, I'm referring to developing countries, that we need to do what we have to do to strengthen, number one, tax administration, number two, strengthen domestic resource mobilization, and to know that through taxation, you can achieve sustainable development. You'll be able to fund your developmental agenda.
We will be right back after the break with Alexia Hoveka, Senior Customs and Excise Officer, Rules of Origin in NamRA. Welcome back. In the studio today, we are joined by Alexia Hoveka, Senior Customs and Excise Officer, Rules of Origin in NamRA. Ms. Hoveka, it's an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you, Chandra, for inviting me here.
Now, Ms. Hoveka, can you kindly introduce yourself and provide a brief overview of your professional background?
Thank you, Chandra. My name is Alexia Hoveka, Senior Customs and Excise Officer, Rules of Origin. My highest education is a B degree in Human Resources Management, which I did at the then Polytechnic of Namibia. And after a while, after that, I went to the University of Namibia, where I went to read a bit in management and taxation, where I obtained a certificate in management and taxation. I went further reading in accounting and auditing. I also obtained a diploma there at the same university. I also further went reading in postgraduate diploma in accounting and auditing, also at the University of Namibia. With regard to my work career, professional career, I started the long journey with the Ministry of Finance, where I served in different roles and responsibilities. I started at Eros Airport, where I was dealing with imports and exports. I also went to the International Airport, where I dealt with import and export passenger control. I also served at the statistics, where I was dealing with statistical data capturing. I also went ahead working at the State Warehouse, where I was dealing with warehouse inspections. I also served at the then technical control in customs as well, where I was dealing with clearing agents, licensing, bond registration, transit bond registration, procedures, among other things. And then my last leg was at Rules of Origin with the Ministry of Finance as a Chief Customs and Excise Officer before I was appointed as the Senior Customs and Excise Officer about 2 years ago with NamRA. So with regard to Rules of Origin, that is the most interesting part I found in my long career in customs. So here my co-responsibility with regard to Rules of Origin is to ensure the correct implementation of trade agreements. That entails that whenever a trade agreement is enforced or come into force, we are tasked with developing training materials and then go around into the regions to capacitate customs officials and traders with regard to the implementations and the implementation of the trade agreements and the Rules of Origin as per the trade agreement. Other responsibilities, one of our core business is also participating in trade agreements where we serve as technical officials to the lead negotiators. So our purpose there is to ensure that the Rules of Origin being negotiated are not will not cause harm, or they won't compromise our Namibian position with regard to the industries, the infant industries and the existing industries. So you must make sure that they won't cause any harm. That's our main purpose there as trade technicians. And the other leg is we are also tasked with development of policies and procedures to ensure that the users of the agreement understand all the steps involved in implementation of trade agreements. That's all regarding my professional career.
That's great. Now, what are trade agreements and what is their significance in today's economic landscape?
What are trade agreements is a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Trade agreements are agreements between countries in terms of trade. There are a lot of chapters or provisions in agreements. So the importance of trade agreements is for participating countries. There are a lot of benefits if you enter into trade agreements. Like when you are any country which is party to any trade agreements through direct trade investment, meaning when you are party to a certain agreement, you attract investor in your country, and when there is investment in your country, so meaning that there is a opportunity for economic development through job creation and poverty reduction. So that's one of the benefits of being party to trade agreements. Another one is you also have an opportunity to participate in international cooperation. So if you are in an agreement with developed countries, a country like Namibia can benefit in such a way that you can cooperate with those with the developed countries in areas of maybe agriculture, rules of origin, and many other, maybe IT and so on. So it depends on what are the provisions in the agreements, because there is a specific chapter on cooperation. So it's in each and every agreement, it's stated in which area you have to cooperate. So that's one of the areas. And the other benefits of being party to those trade agreements is like it facilitates global trade. So by facilitating global trade, it means that it reduces the trade barriers, like high tariffs are reduced because you are party to that agreement. For instance, Namibia is party to many agreements which I allude to at a later stage. Okay, for instance, if I have to import goods from countries like Saudi Arabia, where we don't have an agreement, so it means like I will pay, maybe I import shoes from Saudi Arabia. Because there is no agreement between Namibia and Saudi Arabia, the rates of duties will be 40%. But because I have an agreement with the European Union, when I import the same shoes from Italy, it will cost me only 5% of the duties. And because I'm also party to another agreement like SADC, so importing those goods from Zambia will cost me nothing. So it will be zero rated. So those are some of the benefits.
That's great. Now, Ms. Alexia, can you outline the trade agreement that Namibia is party to and provide an update on their implementation status? Okay,
we have the SACU agreement, which was enforced in 2002. So we all know what SACU agreement entails. It entails Namibia, South Africa, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland. Those are the parties to SACU agreement. It was enforced in 2002, and it is being reviewed from time to time. Then we have another agreement called SACU-Mercosur, which was enforced in 2008. So that agreement is between the SACU member state I mentioned earlier and the South American countries such as Paraguay, Uruguay, Brazil, and so on. That was enforced in 2008, and the review has not yet started. We have another agreement called SACU-EFTA. That is now the agreement between the SACU member state I mentioned earlier and the Scandinavian countries such as Norway, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and so on. And then that one is, the review started in 2019, but it's still on hold for some reasons. And then we have another agreement called the EU SADC-EPA, which is now the agreement between the SACU countries I mentioned earlier plus Mozambique, vis-a-vis the EU. So, and that one was enforced in 2016. So currently they are reviewing the modalities for review now, because every 5 years the agreement need to be reviewed. By review, I mean that you relook at the agreement to assess whether what we agreed upon earlier worked for us or not. So if there are areas that did not work for us, that's where the review come in. And then we have another one called the SACU plus Mozambique UK Economic Partnership Agreement. That was as a result of the Brexit, because the UK was part of the EU, but with their Brexit, everything that was provided for in the EU SADC EPA was transposed into the SACU UK EPA. So that one was enforced in 2021, so it's still ongoing. It's not yet at the review stage. Then we have another one called the SADC Protocol on Trade, which was also enforced in 2008. So that one is under review, but the latest development regarding the SADC Protocol on Trade is the Angolan accession to this agreement. So all along, Angola was part of the SADC, but they were not party to the Protocol on Trade. They were just party to the political wing of SADC, but now they acceded. Recently, in February 2025, they acceded to the Protocol on Trade, meaning that everybody who's trading now with Angola, they can now enjoy the tariff preferences, as I alluded earlier, the lower tariffs or reduced tariff. That is the latest development with regard to SADC Protocol on Trade. And then we have the African Continental Free Trade Area, which was enforced in 2021. But for Namibia, because we could not meet all the requirements to start a commercial, meaningful trade, we were not yet trading since 2021. But the latest development is that December 2024, Namibia met the requirements by gazetting the tariff schedule, meaning now we can start the meaningful trade with the AFCFTA market. So the market is now open. We can benefit from the provision of the AFCFTA. That is basically all the agreement we have so far.
Okay, you mentioned benefits. Now, what further benefits do these trade agreements bring to Namibia?
Okay, for Namibia, like for smaller enterprises, like what we call the SMEs, there is an opportunity for them through that cooperation provision in the agreement for them to be capacitated to be able to expand their business lines. Like, for instance, if you are a small factory producer, now you have an opportunity to be capacitated free of charge. They have that opportunity to expand your knowledge in that line. Also, there is another opportunity for you to be financed so that you can either acquire technologies, or you can expand your business to create opportunities, job opportunities, reduce poverty, and so on. And for bigger companies that are already established, they have an opportunity to expand their product line now. Now they have a bigger market to source their product from through what we call in rules of origin cumulation, meaning you are now free to source materials which was otherwise too expensive for you to import where there was no agreement. Now you have an opportunity to source materials from different countries which are partners to the agreement, and to a certain extent also from those countries that are not parties to the agreement, so that now you can diversify your product line and expand your businesses. Either you can, like for instance, in the case of the Saudi Arabia shoes, now you have an opportunity to go buy more because now the rates of duties are lower. Now you can buy more, set up a store or a shop, and then you can also recruit more people. So there is an opportunity also to expand locally the businesses and so on.
Now, Ms. Alexia, you mentioned benefits. What are some other benefits that Namibia gets through the trade agreements?
Okay, being party to that trade agreement, Namibia stands to benefit in so many ways. One of them is a SME development. So as an SME, you have an opportunity to be capacitated in your area of trade. I said, for instance, if you are just a small trader, poultry trader, there is an opportunity for you to expand your business through capacity building. So you expand your knowledge in that area. And then there is an opportunity for you also to be funded through financial assistance, whereby you can either set up, expand your business, or acquire technologies and knowledge. So that's one of the benefits for SMEs. And for normal cross-border traders, because now we are party to trade agreement, to all those trade agreement I mentioned earlier, you have an opportunity to get goods at a reduced rate of duties. For instance, because now we are members to the SACU agreement, So as we know, in SACU, we have what we call external tariff, CET, external tariff, SACU external tariff. So meaning we do not charge duties from one another as members of SACU. So meaning when you buy goods from South Africa, the only thing you can pay is only VAT, just because we are party to that SACU agreement. Likewise, as for other agreements, you buy goods within SADC, that is even cheaper. Because when you buy goods from any of the SADC countries, most of the goods are reduced at a zero rate. 85% of the goods you buy within SADC are reduced at 85%. So it's only a few industrial goods where duties are still applied. So as for industries, the established industries, there is an opportunity for them to expand or diversify their product line. So now, because we have an agreement with all those countries, the bigger companies can now go out and source input from other member states or party states. And to a certain extent, they can also source materials or goods or processes. They can also, that's what we call cumulation. You can either source materials to produce goods, which you can also export into the market free of duties, or you can cumulate processes, meaning that I can do one part of the process. For instance, sewing, I can just cut. And then because I'm party to the SADC, I can send the material to South Africa to sew it and so on. And then it can come back to me to finish the process. So that's one of the benefits for established industries. The other benefit is also, what was that? Yeah, that's so far the benefits for being party to the agreement. So as a result, if you do that, you establish your own industries here at home, start selling your goods, employ more people, reduce poverty, and then create employment opportunities as well. That's some of the benefits I can highlight for now, being party to the agreement.
Well, that's great. Ms. Alexia, any last or final messages you would like to leave with our traders?
Yes, I will humbly call upon our traders, the prospective traders under the AFCFTA, and also those who have been trading with Angola at no benefit. So now that Angola has acceded to the protocol on trade, there is an opportunity for you to import or export your goods to and from Angola at reduced or zero rate. So what you need to do is to come to our office, and then we'll assist you with the registration requirement so that you can get the certificate of origin and tap into this benefit provided for by the Angolan accession to the SADC protocol on trade. Those who have been trading or the prospective traders under the AFCFTA, we call upon them as well now to approach our offices for registration requirements, because before we were not engaging in a commercial, meaningful trade. Now that we have gazetted our tariff schedule, you have an opportunity now to engage in a commercial, meaningful trade by registering with us and getting a certificate of origin to tap into the benefit as well provided for under the AFCFTA. We are a team of dedicated experts in rules of origin, and we are ready to help you in no time with your requirements. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Alexia. It was an absolute pleasure having you with us today at NamRA Kachenu, and we wish you continued success here at NamRA.
Thank you, NamRA, for having me here, for inviting me.
We will now take a short break, and when we return, we will dive straight into educational topics and share useful tips for traders and taxpayers. Don't go anywhere. We will now turn our focus on how to register on ITAs in Afrikaans.
Hallo en welkom. My naam is Natasha van Zyl. In hierdie video gaan ek u stap vir stap deur die ITAs registrasieproses neem. Ga na die webwerf op u skerm om toegang tot die ITAs webportaal te kry. Volg asseblief die volgende stappe. Stap 1. Kies die e-dienste opsie. 'n aanmeldbladsy sal oopmaak. Stap 2. Klik op die klik hier om te registreer opsie, sodat die registrasiebladsy kan oopmaak. Stap 3. Wanneer die registrasiebladsy oopmaak, voltooi al die vereiste velde wat met 'n asterik gemerk is en klik dan op die indien knoppie. Stap 4. 'n Verifikasieskerm sal verskyn wat aandui dat 'n verifikasieskakel na u e-pos gestuur is. Stap 5. Klik op die verifikasieskakel in u e-pos om u registrasie te aktiveer. Stap 6. Nadat u op die skakel geklik het, sal die gebruikersrekening geaktiveer word. Stap 7. Voer u gebruikersnaam en wagwoord en klik op die teken in knoppie. Let wel, u belastingnommer kan ook as u gebruikersnaam gebruik word. Stap 8. Neem kennis dat wanneer u inteken, die gebruikerstipe standaard sal wees op teken in as 'n belastingbetaler. As u 'n verteenwoordiger is, kies teken in as 'n verteenwoordiger. Stap 9. Sodra u ingeteken het, sal die welkom bladsy oopmaak en 5 stappe vertoon om u te help met die aanlyn registrasieproses. Dit sal ook die terme en voorwaardes uiteensit wat moet nagekom word. Lees die terme en voorwaardes noukeurig deur en merk die goedkeurblokkie om voor te gaan na die volgende prosesse. Of om, nommer 1, te registreer as 'n nuwe belastingbetaler, of nommer 2, om u bestaande ITAS profiel aan u belastingnommer te koppel. Baie dankie dat u die video gekyk het. Sluit gerus die volgende keer by ons aan wanneer ons meer wenke oor ITAS deel.
Let's look at how to register on ITAS in Osheherero.
Ushwana shaminikwa mwina moya kuwa na kumurali wetu wa ITASA ino ndima tutara kumilishangisiro okongole wetu wa ITASA okongoleza website anji amo kongolere kupatwi
Orupo rutenga muyata mbandi yo maitiro kurungovi wetu okuvambo mapepa turuka omurali wokuita kurungovi. Orupo rushevari maru paturura omurali womirishangithiro numuyata pomirishangithiro kurungovi wetu pupashangwa sign up now. Orupo rushetatu vira avihembi vihepirwa kove oshashimape yarithiwa komurali wetu womirishangithiro shavumba uhite kurungovi amuyata pupashangwa submit. Ruporusha ine mapepa turuka omurari wa mataruriro boma uyaritha kusha penolinga njahinva kwa imila yoye. Ruporusha tano moyata polinga njahinva kwa imila yoye kusha uyenine kupaturura urungoviroye. Ruporusha ambo umwe shiwa dhuno kupaturura urungoviroye oruwina maruto kuungura shaumba moyata pombandi yo mahitiro. Urupurusha ambo mbari shangae naroye punono mora yoyo undikwa shaumba uyate pombandi yo mahitiro. Urupurusha ambo ndatu shivithiwa kusha urungovi wetu wina rutoro rukuru kusha uhite oshomufuti woshisha murongo shahoromente pothia shuri omukuramenepo omundu warwe motho kutorora kuhita shomukuramenepo omundu nko. Urupurusha muvyu shiwa dhuno kuhita murungovi mapepa turuka omurari wa maya kuriro nomurarimbi wina mau yaritha otupatu tano tumatuko vatere nomerishangithiro kurungovi rwetu na wina nomirarimbi motho kuyanja kombakatwi kokusha uyenene kuunguritha urungovi rwetu.
Motheriro po minga ntokusha wina wainelo kurishangitha kumurali wetu wa ITASA gatoka kainero kwa oshashima tuongathana ulinge peke obungano urungovi rwetu okunyene kuyeta.
Let us focus on how to file returns with Pay 5 and retirement annuities in Osheherero.
Wamishipena njambiko hanga, mimi niko shiwanga. Ondekura ni mama tutaka kwa maitisiro warutu shisha murongo shihoro mende kurungovi wetu wa ITASA yoshinena maruta tere kwa mbeno nduga thaneno yo mafutiro shimari wa shopensiona na ibambeno ngweni kiro yomeni wangiro.
Oruporu tenga muyata mbandi yo mahitiro kurungovi rwetu oshanga ena punono mora yoyo undikwa kushihite kurungovi Oruporushe vari oyatapo makotero woruturo yerushisha morongosho oromende pupashangwa riten. Ukudhambo yatapo pashangwa omakotorero woruturo nje rushisha morongosho oromende pupashangwa my riten. Oruporushe tatu moi pupashangwa kusha omapahero woruturo nje rushisha morongosho oromende pupashangwa search your return. Otorora oruturo yendumo vango kutfa kurungovi rwetu okudhambo oipupashangwa omatwakero woruturo yerushisha morongosho oromende pupashangwa file your return. Oruporusha ine motorora orutundu ashangwa foroma yakauriri onomafuma. Muruporushe tano muno tupa peke peke ovimumotorora oruporushe vari ndwashangwa schedule 2. Nduri oruparangama uhengwa shangitho vanashe kongwithikire omeri hongero luina noho murupande motho kushanga omanayo vanashe nomayova yao yongwatero. Muruporusha hambo umwe mopaturo oruporushe tatu indoro vyongora ndwashangwa schedule 3. Oshanga enaronganda kuwa shitondo vathanini yomathutiro oshimariva shopensiuna nongwithikire omeri hongero onomora yayo meri shangithiro na wina noho noshimariva showakwithika okuyanja mumbura. Ruporusha hamombari moiko rupa orusha mirongo na hamombari otara kusha oshisha murongo shishinanwa kove mashi itathana kuna ishishishiri korungo virwetu poinde. Ruporusha hamondatu moiko rupa orusha mirongo vivari na ine ndwashangwa schedule 24. Umu yaritha korungo virwetu kusha ove nguru muni wonjuo puatura lushuro muni wonjuo oyatapu pashangwa yes. Indushu heri muni wonjuo oyatapu pashangwa no. Okudhambo oyaritha enaro muni wonjuo onomora yoshisha morongo onomora yokauru konjukiro noshimariva showakwithika okuthuta kunjuo mombura nuwina noho shiunguritha oshihauto shovyongora motho kuyaritha. Oruporusha movyu skena oruturo yerushisha morongo shaoromende oruturo nduvathani omathuti oshimariva shopensiuna na wina noho noruturo ngithikiro yomeri hongero. Ruporusha morongo shita oshihengururwa shoruturo ye shavumba utwe korungo virwetu.
Kutherire poninga nduko maitithiro woruturo yerushisha morongo shaoromende katuhakaine rukwawo oshashimatuhongathana ovinange peke peke wongano rungo virwetu okunene kuhemba.
New requirements on updating or adding banking details on ITAS.
Hi, I am Nesla Watanawa, and today I'm going to take you through the requirements for adding or amending your banking details. As from the 17th of March 2025, we are no longer accepting certified copies of your identification document. Please come with your original ID and a bank confirmation letter not older than 3 months. You can amend or change your banking details at any of the NamRA offices countrywide. For those that have been using third-party banking details, you are advised to come to any NamRA office to come modify your banking details. A reminder to please bring along your original ID and a bank confirmation letter not older than 3 months. Thank you.
Here are the trivia of duties.
Did you know value-added tax, which is known as VAT, is a tax on the value added at each stage of production or distribution of an article? There are 3 rates of VAT: standard rate, which is at 15%, zero rate, and exempt.
Here are the available options for payment.
My name is Angela Kamui, Senior Revenue Treasury Officer at NamRA. I'm going to take you through the process of making payments to our NamRA offices. We have 4 modes of payments which are acceptable at our offices, which are direct deposits, cash payments, electronic fund transfers, and speed points machines. When making electronic fund transfers, we have 2 accounts available for our taxpayers, which is a receiver of revenue, account 165001, and the VAT dedicated account 165060. When making a direct deposit, our taxpayers need to fill this deposit slip at their commercial bank. You need to have your TIN with you. The TIN consists of 8 characters, and then you should also know the period that you are making the payment for. When making an electronic fund transfer, for your penalty or interest liability due to NamRA, you use the EFT referencing example as shown on the screen. It also has 19 characters, but on the text type and text period, you put 999, indicating that the payment is account payment. When making electronic fund transfers, EFT referencing example is shown on the screen, which comprises of 19 characters. The taxpayer reference number comprises of 5 parameters, which are as follows. 1. Represent the payment method, in this case, EFT payment. 06. Office of registration or your return office. The 8th character represents your tax identification number. 14 is tax type, in this case, employees tax. 2018-06 is the tax period for which the payment is meant for.
In the previous episode, we asked, what are the interventions made by NamRA to support taxpayers in their journey as individual salaried persons? The answer is, NamRA has an extensive taxpayer education program to educate and create awareness for individual salaried persons on every step of their compliance journey. This educational content can be found on our website and social media channels. The question for this episode is, name 3 agreements that Namibia is party to that are administered by Customs NamRA. Kindly email your answer to NamRA Kachenu at namra.org.na. The due date for submission is the 10th of April 2025. We will announce the winner in the next episode.
And with that, we conclude this edition of NamRA Kachenu. We hope the information shared has been both insightful and valuable. Join us again in 2 weeks' time for more updates and discussions. Until then, stay informed, stay compliant, and from all of us here at NamRA Kachenu, goodbye.